I had a meeting with His Excellency, who just met Jake Paul the night before. Jake Paul has reached out to Anthony Joshua a few times. I've spoken to Nikisa, Jake's manager.
Yeah, no, that we're gonna plan that for 2026. I talked to Anthony on the phone. He called me up and was like, "I saw you call me out," and he's like, "Let's run it. Let's make it happen."
It's not even about it being realistic or not. Like, it's gonna happen. So fasten your seatbelts or whatever. And when I knock him out, I go down in the history books forever.
Negotiations are in serious progress between Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul. Eddie Hearn recently stated, Hearn defended that Jake Paul has been hounding the fight continuously, and since Turki Alalshikh formally proposed the fight, Team Joshua has agreed to it now.
It's never a fight we anticipated, it's never a fight we've targeted, but if you want Jake Paul to be the warm-up fight, and obviously financially it's a great opportunity for AJ, and you want to provide AJ and probably in turn Matchroom with the opportunity to extinguish Jake Paul from the world of boxing, then maybe AJ will oblige.
Oh, Jake.
Oh, no.
Oh, my.
No, that cannot be.
God.
I did not know that was going to happen.
God.
He openly admitted that the matchup isn't likely to be competitive from a boxing purist standpoint, but its commercial power is undeniable. For Hearn, it's not just about competitiveness, it's about capturing global attention.
Look, Jake's a big, strong cruiserweight. I don't think it's particularly competitive, but we know that in the world we live in, a lot of people would watch it. It may be the biggest fight that can be made, bizarrely, in the sport.
Wade Plemons, a host of the WADE concept, expressed his true thoughts on why Jake Paul chose to accept such a dangerous boxing event. He was worried that the overconfidence that Jake had displayed during fights in the past might finally have some consequences. Wade was not only not convinced of the mentality of Jake, but also the logic of approving this matchup by his team. The fight appeared to him to have a financial gain as a sole strategic purpose.
They really are going to make Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua. And it's not just me saying this as if I want this to happen, because I'm truly concerned that Jake Paul is going to get his actual head knocked off his shoulder.
Wade Plemons underlined that in terms of logic or realism, hardly any people, or none at all, would think that Jake is a person with a chance of winning. As his words indicated, any person using simple logic or common sense would have perceived it as an almost impossible battle that Jake could win, and it was in this way that he felt the matchup was one-sided.
Although I will say, I know Jake's delusion, so I know that when he says it, he actually will fight it. And I think this is the first time in Jake's boxing career that his delusion will lead him to a place that's going to get him seriously injured. Honestly, this is what I think. I don't understand why they want to take this fight. Hopefully Nikisa can try to convince me as to any reason outside of that sweet dinero, aka money, aka dollar bills, y'all. To me, there is no feasible answer for this, and I think it's really going to get Jake hurt.
Boxing has been thrown into meltdown as serious negotiations are underway over a possible mega fight between Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul. The once thought social media hype has turned quickly to serious bargaining, and both sides have brought their senses of interest and no less influential personalities in the world of boxing to underline the fact that negotiations may involve what is more than fiction. The prospect of the challenge that a regular boxing coach would have with Jake Paul and the incomparable Anthony Joshua elicited clear frustration reactions from Billy Nelson, a respected boxing trainer. He considered the matchup to be so unreal and even disrespectful to the sport. His response was enough to show that he did not take the possibility of a fight seriously and knew that it was a joke, probably due to the sheer difference in ability, experience, and physicality between the two combatants.
That he believes Jake can win? I don't know. I don't think any sane person believes Jake can win this fight. If you have any frontal cortex brain matter, you probably think Jake has less than 1% chance of winning this fight.
It is not about, but a clash between business, the spectacle, and legacy. And when it does, it may be one of the most contentious and fruitful events in sports history. Gareth A. Davies had not been impressed with a possible attendance at to match between Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua. He reasoned that there was too large a difference between the fighters, with too much skill difference, which made such a match unsafe and unfit to be allowed.
Well, I've got you, Billy. There's talks, obviously you're from a traditional side of boxing, there's talks of maybe an Anthony Joshua Jake Paul matchup. What do you make of that?
Joke. It's just money in it. It's just for money. Because he'll get absolutely pulverised by Big Joshua. Pulverised.
He emphasized that such a mismatch was dramatic to an extent that it should not be given an official stamp of approval, despite the fight being massively marketable and expected to pull record-breaking numbers in terms of viewers.
Jake Paul is an area level fighter, British area level fighter. That's where he's at as a cruiserweight. He's stepping in against a very big heavyweight who's a massive puncher. Just go back to the second fight with Alexander Usyk. Look how great Alexander Usyk has become. And you go back and look at some of the highlights of Joshua's attacks on Usyk and gave him a really hard time for 9-10 rounds in that second fight in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia.
Occurring once more is the case of Jake Paul, the controversial influencer who has been fronting the contention of blurring the lines between an influencer and an athlete. After his decision victory over Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., Paul has his team come out publicly to admit they are actively discussing the possibility with the team of Anthony Joshua. Gareth A. Davies explained the reasoning why the coming battle between Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua was entirely absurd. He made fun of the asymmetry in the matchup. Jake Paul has no experience versus Joshua, who has a background in the elite heavyweight division.
I'm almost in disbelief at the thought of when you close your eyes, then open them again and think about them in a ring together. It just doesn't seem safe.
He then pointed out that he wanted the fight to be only appealing due to the shock factor. He likened it to a gruesome show, a show people could not resist watching, though they knew it was all one-sided and perilous. He implied that people would not tune in to feel that they are about to see a contest, but to see something that is bound to happen, and it may end up being an ugly fight.
One of the reasons is because you can't believe it's actually happening, because it seems nonsensical. It's an absurd fight to make. On health grounds for Jake Paul, on levels of the two fighters, on inexperience of Jake Paul against a very active heavyweight, although Anthony hasn't been active for 11 months now. It's going to be a year next month that he fought Daniel Dubois, and that time has flown by.
Turki Alalshikh, the Saudi Sports Authority chief who helped organize some of the biggest fights of recent years, is believed to be supporting the contest, supplying the cash and the infrastructure to turn it into a worldwide event. Even more so, Paul is ready to accept 99-1 on the purse to Joshua. Humility of this nature is not one of the features of Paul's character, and it reflects how important this challenge is to him.
It's a ludicrous fight. And one of the reasons why it would be watched so much is because people will be rubbernecking. It's a car crash fight. You know, from the outside looking in, you just think there is no way on earth Jake Paul is going to survive a battering from Anthony Joshua.
Eddie Hearn admitted that even the proposal sounds unbelievable, though he did not reject it altogether, citing the power of large monetary incentives in propelling even the most incongruous pairings into existence. Although this might appear to be far-fetched, an idea Hearn presented is the possibility that Jake does pursue higher profile fights, and he is willing to chase a big payday.
I see him, he's guest for Queensberry, and we are talking now about the future. Let's see.
Are you really talking about a fight between him and Anthony Joshua?
Why not? It is win-win deal.
So we'll see. You know, His Excellency said to us, would you be interested in making the fight? I can't say no, because until we know the proposal, maybe. And if Jake Paul is crazy enough to step in the ring with Anthony Joshua, and he might be because of the amount of money that will be at stake, who knows? You could see AJ against Jake Paul next.
Frank Warren commented when asked about Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua. He did offer Jake credit for his marketing instincts, but the fact was that Jake had created a good brand, and he was certainly not short on self-belief. Simultaneously, his admiration of Anthony Joshua was also evident as the challenger was called a top-tier athlete, coming with youth and greatness on his side.
Jake Paul could last 3 rounds with Anthony Joshua. 3, 2, 1. You've seen he's called him out, presumably.
Yeah, in 2026. I mean, that's like me saying I'm going to go for the gold at the 2028 Olympics for surfing. It's clickbait, but he might just be mad enough to have a go. It's very dangerous, very dangerous. I mean, you saw a guy who has the same size as AJ and who has much more ability than Jake Paul, which is Francis Ngannou. And you saw what happened to him, and that was scary. for a while.
Also, during a recent interview, Tony Yoka, the French Olympic gold medalist, voiced strong disbelief about the possibility of Anthony Joshua accepting a fight with Jake Paul. He emphasized that Joshua, a two-time heavyweight champion, has nothing to gain by stepping in the ring with someone like Paul, whom he sees as unqualified at that level. He claimed, "You can't make me believe that Anthony Joshua is going to fight Jake Paul. Like, why? He doesn't need money. Joshua is the fighter who makes the most money in boxing. You can't tell me he's going to fight Jake Paul. What's the point?" Joseph Parker gave his thoughts on the possible return of Anthony Joshua, and it was quite clear that the former world champion is supposed to deal with genuine enemies in the heavyweight class, not social media stars. During one recent interview, Parker strongly emphasized the relevance of substantial fights to any fighter who wants to re-establish the rhythm and set a long-lasting legacy.
I like Jake. He's a good promoter, very good promoter, and he's a funny guy. He's got a great sense of humour, got good people around him, the key, so they know their business. There's a massive weight disparity, and that's a tough thing to give away, especially with somebody who's got so much physical advantage over him, and he's a young guy, AJ. He's not an old guy, he's a young guy. Will it happen? Who knows? Anything happens sometimes in our sport, but I think that is a big ask of Jake beating him. Big ask.
Roy Jones Jr. took a rather surprising reaction to a question regarding the rising speculation about a possible match between Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul. Instead of writing off the idea as most people in the boxing circles, he added that he even believed that the fight would happen. His remark indicated that even the matching of this nature does not seem so implausible as it could be due to the environment of a modern boxing match with its entertainment, big money focus.
What about Joshua as an opportunity for you?
I think Joshua, from what I've been seeing, is talking about Jake Paul, right? Or Jake Paul's talking about Joshua. You know what I mean? Right. So if Joshua's really still, like Lawrence said, if he's still motivated and he still wants to box and give it everything he has, then he has to fight one of us to get back to the top.
But at what point, we're going to hear from Jake Paul in a minute, but at what point do you, as the mandatory challenger for the WBO, let's say that Usyk vacates the belt. Is it the WBO that's next up? Do you get the first odds?
Yes.
The big question remains, will there be a possible fight between Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua? Well, Tyson Fury came out with a striking and disappointing claim that elicited murmurs in the camp of Jake Paul. Fury took a different route rather than labeling Jake as an underdog, since he instead stated that Jake would knock Joshua out. Since Fury has a reputation for mind games and random opinions, his comment was more of a provocative or sarcastic nature than a critical analysis.
I think it's great for boxing. I think the fight will happen. AJ is 1-0 against these guys that come in to these boxing careers late. So why not? He's a perfect guy to take him out too. He took Ngannou out. Why would he not take Jake Paul out? And for him, he'd probably make more money fighting Jake Paul than he will fight anybody else that he can fight right now. So why would he not do it? I mean, not that he needs the money right now anyway, but if he's going to do something, if you want to get a good win, to put him back on the scene, that's a perfect win. You get a lot of money doing it.
The gap is mind-numbing by contrasting the two in the ring. Joshua is 6'6" and weighs about 240 pounds, and he has a knockout record against the best heavyweights of the modern era. Paul is 6'1" and born a cruiserweight, and he has never taken an opponent of the kind of size, speed, and experience as someone like AJ. The jab of Joshua was enough to close down the whole of Paul. However, Jake Paul has something unique to him and other people do not. He can sell a fight. He knows what fun is.
There's been some talk about possibly Joshua using Jake Paul as a tune-up to fight you. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know about tune-up. I think Jake Paul knocks him out.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Why so? What impresses you about Jake Paul?
I just think Jake Paul would knock AJ out. I think AJ's a spent force, and I think Jake Paul's on the rise. And I like his new heavyweight look. Bit chubby, bit bulky.
Being a characteristically fiery, immensely blunt, no-nonsense opinion piece, Big John Fury issued a brutally honest evaluation of the hype surrounding a potential bout between champion Anthony Joshua and internet grifter Jake Paul.
Yeah, AJ and him, they should have fought 6 years ago. Should have fought 6 years ago, and it's never going to happen that now, no. But you can't say, you can never say never, but for me, there's nothing there anymore. Both men ain't what they used to be. You know, I wish Anthony all the best of luck.
To start with, he dwelled on the lost chance of a much-awaited fight between Joshua and Tyson Fury and explained that both boxers were already past their prime. Turning his focus on the Joshua Paul rumors, John had cautioned AJ's young man not to blemish his reputation by indulging himself in what was fake or staged.
But Anthony, listen to me. Don't take a dive with this Jake Paul, mate. Do not do that, not for $1 billion, my pal. Don't do it. Don't do as the others have done. Do not take dives. If he fights you, knock him dead as a nit, and good luck with it.
He showed plain repugnance to the suggestion that Joshua should give a dive, and even spoke in jest that Joshua ought to be quite capable of disposing of Jake without any trouble, and failing to do so, there would be something rotten in a mighty big way. His remarks came as a side effect of frustration over the way in which money and showmanship have started to upstage honesty in contemporary boxing.
Anthony Joshua could knock Jake Paul out with his dick. So if it goes any other way, you know.
You give me a headline there, by the way.
If it goes any other way, you know it's fixed, don't you? Enough said.
Simon Jordan, the former Crystal Palace chairman and outspoken boxing pundit, sees the fight from a commercial standpoint. While acknowledging the oddity of the matchup, he argued that boxing today is as much about entertainment and revenue as it is about sport. He said, financially and promotionally, it makes sense. Jake Paul brings in big money and attention. If Joshua can secure a huge payday and knock the guy out, why not? Boxing is a business. Spencer Oliver agreed with Simon Jordan by advising Anthony Joshua to think seriously about the challenge with Jake Paul. His point was that the matchup may not be a normal one, but the profits financially and also the recognition worldwide were too much to ignore. Oliver pointed out that one aberrant battle would not come to characterize Joshua in the long run, because the world of boxing is not new to seeing heroes entering the ring against their unexpected foes.
Listen, commercially, of course it works because it'll be huge and there'll be a load of money on the table. For Anthony Joshua, it's like sort of, you know, he's going to get rewarded very well with no risk, minimal risk, no risk at all. He's going to go in there and he may then put all this stuff to bed with Jake Paul and calling out all these different champions, etc., etc. So, of course it works. And when you're talking about, you know, the credibility that Joshua's going to get, he's not going to get none now, but are people going to remember that? Of course they're not. Like, when he goes on to do what he does, didn't Muhammad Ali have some sort of strange fight in the middle of his career? Didn't he box? Yeah, he did. He boxed some non-boxing guy and whatnot. Like, people don't remember that. That's what I'm saying. Look.
Nevertheless, Paul has been saying his camp is still brimming with confidence. His manager indicates that this is the chance nobody can give up. Jake himself believes he is underestimated by the world. Again, according to him, he fights people in their primes, and when that happens, they still complain. He is adamant he is getting better, he takes it seriously, and that he is not competing to survive, but to shatter the world. Nonetheless, despite all the speculation involved in his claim, Jake Paul continues to hold his ground and insists that nobody can be familiar with his state of mind or practice than he. He criticized the view that Joshua is an invincible fighter, and this implies that the challenge has been overhyped by the people. It was not hype that Paul was talking about, but rather an indication of his increasing confidence and desire to be regarded as being in the elite stage of boxing.
You've seen Wembley at its best tonight. How much do you want to fight here now?
Man, yeah, I would love it. I would love it. I'd love to walk into the Lion's Den and have everyone saying Jake Paul and then knock someone out like he did tonight. So we'll see what happens, but I know I can do it.
Who's that someone?
Anthony Joshua.
I know there's been a lot of noise today about a certain Tyson Fury placing £1 million on you to knock Anthony Joshua out if that fight's made. What's your response to Tyson?
I'll 10x it. I'll put $10 million.
Joe Rogan, longtime UFC commentator and fight analyst, expressed mixed feelings. While he didn't think the fight was competitive, he couldn't ignore the spectacle and potential impact of such a bout, especially if Paul were to pull off a shocking win. He remarked, if he beat Anthony Joshua, good lord, I mean, that's a big if, right? But this is dangerous. Joshua is a one-punch knockout guy. He's gonna try to make an example out of Jake and Will. The legendary boxing trainer and fitness guru Leon Wills and professional cruiserweight Vidal Riley, ex-trainer of the KSI boxer, also gave their opinion on the possible Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua fight. Both concurred that this contest is much more interesting than the Jake callouts of Canelo Alvarez or Gervonta Tank Davis that came after his win over Julio Cesar Chavez Jr.
This game's a risky game, you know. It's a risky game. A risky game, especially where he is. Jake is in the most techie position ever. Because it's like, I've told everyone I'm gonna do this, Last week he's saying I want Badu. Then this week he's saying he wants AJ.
They did admit that Joshua perhaps is not the ideal stylistic match, but they said that in terms of size, hype, and interest to the general audience, this is a fight that stands tall. To them, Joshua is the most appealing and sellable prospect that Jake has ever had.
But I prefer this fight than Jake fighting Canelo or Jake fighting Tank.
Oh, the Tank was stupid.
That was stupid, very stupid, very stupid. But I'm happy that that's not happening. That can't happen.
Yeah.
Canelo as well shut that down.
Canelo now.
So yeah, he had to bring back up the hype, innit? And he chose the right guy.
And that is just it. What began as an idle fantasy has now been resounding in the boxing world, with the likes of legends such as Roy Jones Jr., promoters, fighters, and coaches all sharing their thoughts. No matter how you label it, a circus or a cash-in, one thing is certain: the hype that surrounded Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua is not slowing up anytime soon. Can it be possible, or is it yet one more headline in the era of boxing show business? So why not tell us what you think in the comments? Are you interested in watching it? Hit like, smash subscribe, and don't forget to flick on notifications so you never miss a punch, a prediction, or a jaw-dropping hot take in the fight world.